a mob burns a Waymo car into the ground.
I really don't know what to feel about this story. To me, it gets into like dangerous property damage where you could end up hurting someone.
After a decade, a climate scientist wins his libel case. He's notable for coming up with what was called the hockey stick graph. He also lost the case, but it was like $1,000 or something. And the reason there's like a huge discrepancy is, hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Echoplex Media. I am historian Matt, and I'm a co-producer and one of the hosts here on the show. So I'm just going to jump right into my first story. It's a real quick one, sort of a flash in a pan kind of story. But basically, a mob burns a Waymo car into the ground. So during a Chinese New Year celebration in San Francisco, a Waymo car tried to drive through a crowded street in Chinatown, which is not a good place to go at that time. And the crowd just didn't like that and decided to break the windows and burn the car and basically burned it to the ground. The car wasn't carrying any passengers. No injuries were reported. I don't know. There's some footage. I don't know. I don't think it played, did it, of the actual burning of the car on Twitter. But yeah. So Waymo car burned. What do you think?
I really don't know what to feel about this story. So, I mean, it's just property damage, so you can't really call it violent, but I don't think people should be burning stuff, but also it's a robot that's dangerously driving through a crowded street. So I don't know. I feel like I'm leaning towards being on the side of the crowd because they're actual people and this thing's just a stupid fucking robot that could kill someone.
Yeah. I think, particularly in San Francisco, they've had a lot of trouble with these robo-taxis of various sorts causing problems. There was, I don't think it was in San Francisco, but nearby, not too long ago, where a whole bunch of them got stuck in this one street and blocked traffic and everything for quite a while. So I think there's a lot of anger about that. So when they showed up, and it's in really a place it really should not be, in Chinatown during Chinese New Year, where the streets were basically shut down for that. I don't know if they were actually shut down, but there's clear from the video, there's people everywhere, right? Blocking the streets and everything. And I did want to say, I did see the video, and it looked like what happened was they didn't take a lighter to the car or something. It looks like they broke the window, and then somebody lit a firecracker or a big one, put it in the car and set it off inside the car. And that set the seats on fire or something. And then it started burning from there.
The size that you just held up your hands right there, that's the size of a firework. Not a firecracker, a firework.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, I don't think it was that big, but I mean, it was a big
an
explosion when you see it. It was,
okay.
But I didn't actually see what it was, if it was a little thing or not.
Well, the little firecrackers don't really make a big explosion. They're just loud and they flash. But an M80, that'll make a big explosion. Regardless, it set the car on fire, which may or may not have been intentional.
Yeah, it's not clear. If it wasn't intentional, nobody was doing anything to help the car, right?
I mean, they certainly intentionally destroyed the car.
Yeah.
But whether or not setting it on fire was intentional is a different question. Because something set on fire could become much more dangerous, if it sets a building on fire. Whereas just destroying a robot that's doing dangerous things. Where you're setting things on fire is where, to me, it gets into dangerous property damage where you could end up hurting someone. Right.
But as I said, nobody was hurt, nobody was injured, and nobody died. There's no, as far as we know, there were no passengers in the car. From the videos that I saw, the video started right when, I think it started when it was hit by somebody had a baseball bat or something and broke the window. I don't remember exactly what they did to break the window. But at that point, there was nobody inside the car. So it was unclear, maybe somebody got out beforehand, but yeah. And then it burned, and then people stood back and watched it burn, and the fire truck showed up eventually.
Yeah, thank goodness no one was hurt.
Well, that's all I got for that one. It was a short one. I'll go on to my next story, which is a little bit longer, but basically after a decade, a climate scientist wins his libel case. So what am I talking about? A decade ago, climate scientist Michael Mann, not to be confused with the filmmaker, but the climate scientist, he sued two authors for defamation after the authors accused him of fraud. The authors also compared Mann to a child molester, so there was this really terrible stuff that they were saying. So man is considered a public figure, and usually it's pretty hard to win a defamation case. The bar for a defamation case on a public figure is much higher. But Mann's work was checked by multiple institutions on 2 different contents, and no malpractice was found, which is what the original authors were claiming. So in other words, Mann was verified to be telling the truth to the best of his ability and verified by other institutions. So after a decade, we finally got some of this, like basically after a decade of going through court, the trial didn't last a full decade, but there's a bunch of stuff going on before you actually get to the trial. And then there was a trial recently with a jury, and the jury returned a verdict. And basically, Mann is entitled damages from the authors. So he won the case. And one of the authors was actually ordered to pay $1 million in damages. But of course, appeals are still pending, so no money has been transferred yet. What do you think, Hunter?
I think this is really good for him. Yeah. I'm very happy to see that.
Do you know who Michael Mann is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
So we went to SciCon. I'm pretty sure he was at the last one. I don't know. I don't think he gave a regular talk. I think it was in one of the lunches or something, the paid lunches he had to go to. But he's been talking about this for quite a while.
He's pretty notable.
He's very notable. He's notable for coming up with what was called the hockey stick graph.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm very familiar with that graph. So it's a real shame that there are such bad actors that would defame someone like that.
I think he was working out of the University of Virginia, and he got attacked. These authors went after him. These authors are, of course, related to some think tanks, air quotes there for those only listening, that, of course, were conservative think tanks that are, in the past, they were denying climate change was happening. I think most of those groups have moved on to not outright denial, but other stupid stuff to stop any action on climate change. But
a lot of them will either say it's not man-made climate change, or they'll say that it doesn't really matter. There's nothing we can do about it.
Too far off before anything bad happens, or we can't really do anything about it anyways now, or something like that.
Even though we can clearly see the effects of climate change right now, happening right now.
Yeah. But it's good to know. I mean, it's almost, it seems like he's less interested in actually getting the money for it. Although, $1 million judgment is quite a lot of money. That's only from one of the authors. So, and the other author was, he also lost a case, but it only it was $1,000 or something. And the reason there's a huge discrepancy is the second one that owes a lot less isn't in the climate change denial track at all anymore, right? He's moving on to other stuff. While the first one that owes $1 million is still talking about that sort of stuff. And it's sort of don't do this again kind of thing. They're being extra harsh on their punishment to dissuade him from doing something like that. Well, the other one is
I would say that,
to do it again.
hopefully this will teach a lesson to anyone who might be thinking about doing this, but the people that would be thinking about doing this, I think they are beyond teaching lessons too. But so maybe, it'll stop a publisher from publishing defamatory work. Yeah, because I guess that's who they go after the authors, or though usually the publisher is the one paying for the attorneys oftentimes. Thank you for tuning in to How the Tech Are You? We do this show every week, and we put it out in several segments on YouTube. And we also have a podcast that you can find on our website, echoplexmedia.com, where you can also support us. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll have another video for you up on the screen right now.